Some things do not change in Toronto, and Frederik Andersen losing in the city is not one of them. What is going on, everyone? And welcome inside the Leafs Line podcast, season 2, episode 21 of this show. I am joined by Evan Davis, Jared Rotenberg, and Adamo Romoli. If you don't know, I am Mary Russo, the host of this show today, and we got a lot of things to talk about, a lot of things Leafs, and what looked to be the dog days of the hockey season has now flipped itself right on its head to the pinnacle of the NHL year. We got a lot of things to discuss, including the Toronto Maple Leafs 3-2 win over the Carolina Hurricanes, most recent final Leafs deadlines predictions. And we've been saying this a little bit in the past, a couple weeks ago, making our prediction of where to spend, the goalie position, forwards, defense. Now it's time to lock in. Trade deadline is on Monday. We are going to give our final predictions of who some players should be selected from Kyle Dubas, what position should be narrowed down, and all that jazz. We'll also be moving our way to some other trades that have been made leading up to the deadline. And Ben Sharat, he's heading his way to the Sunshine State. Yarncroc is making his way to what was now believed is the best team very firmly in Canada. He's making his way to the Calgary Flames. And Claude Giroux, what looks to be probably the most favorable free agent in the, favorable trade piece in the bunch. He is going to be discussed on this show and where he may possibly land. And of course, we have a returning theme and a returning segment to the show, the trivia segment of Leafs Line podcast. I will bring up the score when we cross that road, but let me just tell you, it is tight, and we got some trade deadline theme trivia to go along with it. But let us dive in to our most recent NHL news. The Toronto Maple Leafs beating the Carolina Hurricanes 3-2. Your goal scorers for tonight were Ilya Mikheyev, Mitchell Marner, and Andre Kasha, who himself has goals in 3 straight games and coincidentally 3 different uniforms. And I don't know, I want to get this one off first because I need to hear what you guys have to say. Jared, I see you have it on, but what are your thoughts on this beautiful thread that they have never had any success with? They have lost every single game they have played in the St. Pat's jersey, and tonight they break the streak. And as well, another streak that they have broken, the first time in a month that the Maple Leafs have kept their opponent to 3 goals or less in consecutive games. So it's a night of streaks being broken. What do you think of these jerseys, first of all? And we'll make our way into the bread and butter of this show. Jared, I'll start with you. You're the one wearing the jersey. I'm sure you're on the same boat as a lot of us here. What are your thoughts on the threads?
I love them. These jerseys are absolutely amazing. I went to the first game where they ever debuted these jerseys. It was a fun time. We ended up losing it 2-1 in overtime to the Chicago Blackhawks. So that wasn't a fun memory. But always, ever since these jerseys debuted, I love them. I think the white is beautiful. I love the green across the middle. It's just a great jersey. It's a nice throwback. I always love not even the jersey on the ice, just all the kind of St. Pat's stuff and themes that happen in the arena and stuff like that as associated with the day. I think it's amazing. I love that they kind of get into spirit, kind of, I don't even know what the word is, but I guess honor the past and honor the St. Pat's. It's a great jersey. I love when we wear it. It sucks that we don't always get success in it, but tonight we did see some success, and it's a beautiful jersey. Now, I guess to get into this game, it was a really interesting one because I found we definitely didn't start off well whatsoever. We started off slow. Carolina was very evidently the better team tonight. But what I found was our goalie was bailing us out. And all of a sudden, when we have a confident goalie in there, the team gets a little bit more confident with a confident goaltender. And all of a sudden, we start flying. And it just made such a difference that Calgary was giving us saves when maybe we weren't playing well at the beginning. It allowed us to get our feet under us a little bit, and then we started taking off and started getting chances, started playing more creatively. Was it a perfect game? No, but we were able to keep the Carolina Hurricanes to, 1 goal until 3 seconds left in the game when they ended up scoring their second. I thought it was a good game. I thought our goaltender played absolutely amazing. Shalgren, his second ever start in the NHL, third game, second and a half game. And in general, it was a great game overall. Again, not perfect. Carolina by the end outshot us. I believe it was like 36-21 or something. So they were the better team, but we were able to find a way to get a win against a great opponent, and I liked what I saw.
And that's the big part about it, getting the 2 points against a team that is there's very few teams in the National Hockey League as dominant as the Carolina Hurricanes have been this season. But to stick on the jersey trend, I'm going to throw it over to the next Leaf fan in this group. Adamo Romoli, I'm not going to ask you if you have a jersey, who you have on the back of it, but are Maple Leaf fans going to get a lot of Shalgren jerseys and his number on the back with the way this guy is playing? 2 starts, he gets shut out in his first and limits the Carolina Hurricanes to just 2 goals. Should have been 1, but in typical Leafs fashion, giving it up extremely late in the game. What did you make of his play? And personally, just bringing it really to the Carolina Hurricanes, keeping this team intact, and of course carrying the boatload of work in this game. But what'd you make of him? And did he give this team the fighting chance that they needed to take down the behemoth of an opponent in the Carolina Hurricanes?
I'm going to start on the jerseys. I know you didn't ask,
Sure.
but I needed this. I need to get this out because I have a complaint about the St. Patty's jersey. Make them green. What the fuck? I feel like I'm the only person who wants that. Like when I see them on the ice, I see the green. It's gorgeous. I love the green on them, and I just think if you're the St. Patty's and you want to go green and it's a home game, full send it. Go green. Like literally that exact jersey, but just invert them where it's green. I what you're gonna say?
I wouldn't hate it.
Green?
I back it very much.
Like we already do like a blue setup. Let's green for one night, even if we do look stupid, send it. Do the brown pants, brown gloves that we seem to do. I think those will look clean. Or even the brown pads that our backup goalie was wearing.
Yep.
But how about that starting goalie with the fresh, I think they were Bauer NXG pads, but the green, they looked good. But his actual play as well, I'm impressed with, but also not ready to call this guy our starter. He's our starter until, proven otherwise, until probably Jack Campbell gets back. But he's calm, yes, but it's not saying much when we've seen, Peter Mrazek the last 10 games. Like he's not like this, straight Zen guy. Like there were times where he doesn't know where the puck is, and he's just kind of lying there, hoping it hits him, which I think is fine because he's let in 1 goal in the last 2 games, so he's doing something right. And I'm not much of a goalie analyst either, but he's definitely giving them a fighting chance. And I think it's also a little bit of, I can speak to like as a player myself, when you had a goalie that you didn't have confidence in, you made sure that they weren't getting high danger opportunities. And I don't think that, mind you, I didn't watch the game too much. I could peek over the guy's shoulder a couple times, but from what I did see, they didn't get too many high danger chances. I know the Canes had a lot of shots, but that doesn't equal quality. So I think it's kind of boosted the Leafs, and it's also made them more confident too, right? That they have this guy that can make a save, unlike our other goalie with equally as cool pads. Mrazek has cool pads too. The Blues, I like him. But yeah.
He for sure wins the pad game, but in respect to Mrazek and the actual game itself, he has been scuffling, as we've been talking about extensively on the show. And what a sight for sore eyes. We've sort of accustomed Shalgren with that sort of composure and net, calm between the pipes, level-headed, any other metaphor you want to put, it should work in regards to how cool this guy is in the net. And it just because Mrazek's out there every other night, just diving from hash mark to hash mark and not even understanding where his posts are. So it's just a great thing to see from the Leafs. They're finding a guy to stick with. They have a goalie right now, and not named Peter Mrazek, who is capable and has been able to win those big games. And that is probably the most important thing that this team needs right now. When the team's not doing it offensively, we saw from the shot category, they were struggling to get things on net, but they got the ones in that counted. And Evan, can you speak anything towards the goal scoring aspect of this game? They do win 3-2, 3 goal scorers without Austin Matthews in the lineup. So what did you make of these guys' play? The second line was really interesting to me because they've really been dropping the ball a little bit over the last couple of months, if you want to go that far. I know Nylander's been struggling trying to find the back of the net, but his line mate did score in Andre Cash with his new line mate there. So what did you make of their play and the offense of the Toronto Maple Leafs in this one?
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good.
All right, cool. I was just like, I feel like the Canes lost this game more than the Leafs won it, because the first 2 goals that the Leafs scored, I didn't feel like those really should have gone in. The one that Ilya Mikheyev scored, he had no business scoring that goal. Freddie Anderson needs to make that save. And then on the second opportunity, it was a great shot by Mitchell Marner. But then again, it just goes under the blocker of Freddie Anderson. That's another save I thought he should have made. But they were great. The Andre Kasha goal was probably the best one of the night. I mean, he starts the play with the defensive steal. Alexander Kerfoot makes another great pass. I feel like we've constantly associated him in the playmaking recently. That was a great pass to who was it? McKay. I don't remember who he passed it to, but then Kasha with the one-timer just sneaking it above the pad of Freddie Anderson. That was a great goal, and he showed it in his emotion. But yeah, I mean, overall, it was a great game. Colgren, yeah, like Adamo said, I'm not ready to really call him the starter yet. It is only 2 games. Granted, it was against 2 highly offensive, talented teams. At least Dallas of late has picked it up offensively, and Carolina, we know, has been great offensively, but have struggled as of late. I don't know if you guys caught that, but in their last 8 games, they scored 3 or less goals, make that now 9 games, but they've won 5 of them. So that's just a testament to their defense. So, but yeah, I mean, I thought Shalgren played great for the most of the night, but I'm not really ready to like say that this guy is the Leafs starter. I think he's kind of just a contemporary piece until Mrazek and Campbell pick it up, because as much as I love Shalgren, I don't want him to be one of the goalies that the Leafs are considering for like starting the playoffs or like even getting into this last push before all the seeding is organized. So, you know, I hope this inspires Mrazek and Campbell to finally pick it up and see what it's like when the players have confidence in their goalie. Because I even thought like Mitch Marner was fantastic tonight. I thought this was a great game. Defensively, he was fantastic. But yeah, I hope this pumps the tires of the Leafs goalies, because I don't want Shalgren in there in the playoffs or even down the stretch.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to bring up the unpopular opinion here, and I usually reside this situation for Adamo Romoli when he's bringing up those extremely hot takes of his, that some of which have come true. If you want to check them out, you could look at our YouTube channel and see through there. But the unpopular opinion that I am very ready to give this guy the starting goal nod.
I thought you were going somewhere else, and I was
I was
gonna grab you through the screen and like strangle you.
I gotta hear what you were thinking, because I don't want to get strangled by you.
It kind of segues. I have another rant because I'm seeing some shit on Twitter. So before we get on,
Mario
did I cut out or Mario? Okay, no, he's good. You're good. Mario.
Am I good? I cut out for a little bit. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're good. Don't worry. No, I just saw some shenanigans going on Leaf Twitter, and it really pissed me off, and I'm here to rant about it. So
it really grinds your gears.
It does grind my gears. Should I say it now?
You know, I wanted to say something, but you know what? You got to go on your rant. You get the train rolling, buddy. Go for it.
Stop the knee slander. Stop it. Enough with the fucking trade Nylander shit. Okay, no. People are wanting to trade.
That's a serious thing. Oh my god.
Yes, man. Player fucking Mitch Marner has 1 more point in his last 8 games, and he's playing the best fucking hockey of his career. Well, Nylander is a floaty, whitey baby that the Leafs need to get rid of. This, like, because he's an IKEA piece of furniture. Like, what the? Stop it, Leaf fans. Stop. I'm putting my foot down. Okay, the line has been drawn.
Mm-hmm.
William Nylander is going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Nowhere. We are not trading him. It kind of pisses me off that, you know, you have these 3 guys making, you know, $11 million, and Nylander, who's making 7, is like held to that standard when he actually plays to that standard, making so much less money. But when he doesn't play to that standard, which he's still a point a game, by the way, it's trade him. Or, you know, he's always getting the short end of the stick. I feel so bad for him. God. I thought that's the route you were going, because you said something about Nylander struggling.
No.
And yeah, I was ready to put my fist through this computer screen.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't understand the criticism whatsoever. And I mean, truth is there. Nylander has obviously been struggling. It's not been a pretty couple of months for him. But if you look at what he's done in this entire course of the season, he's been probably in his best form in a Maple Leafs uniform that we have seen in his entire Leafs tenure. And there's no reason why this guy should be brought into any questions in regards to trade talks. If you want to talk about trade talks, well, I got a serious thing. It is ridiculous, but I got a perfect segue for you, because we're going to be talking about the Maple Leafs trade talks, their deadline moves, who's going to go, who's going to come in, what's to go, what's to look for, all the news for the Toronto Maple Leafs and what they have to do on Monday morning. We got you covered right here. And I mean, one thing to tie it back into the game. The goaltending has been something that I know we've touched upon very briefly on the show in regards to trade candidates, trade targets. I know Marc-Andre Fleury's name has been in the trade mode with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and it's not going to happen. We've been through this. We've done this dance. But how much pressure is now on, I'm not going to say he's the backup. Personally, for me, he's looking to be the backup, but Peter Mrazek, he's still considered the starter with Campbell on the mend. He's serving his first week of a 2-week healing process. I think it's a fractured rib he had. So he'll be back. He'll be back shortly, but where does the pressure lie most on with every single Källgren? I'm going to say this guy's name wrong a million times, much like a lot of Leaf fans have. But how much pressure lies on Peter Mrazek or Jack Campbell due to Källgren's dominant play over the last two games? I'm going to ask you, Jared, because you've been watching this team very closely. You've been seeing these two guys go at it. You've seen the highs and lows, the peaks and valleys with Peter Mrazek, and you've seen strictly just the peaks of Källgren. I know this is a two-game testament, a very small sample size, but the guy sees his opportunity. Mrazek, they gave him a bunch of chances when he was struggling, and he could not get it done. You turn it over to the rookie goaltender, the young goaltender who doesn't have that much experience, gets a shutout in his first ever NHL start, and he puts up a terrific game tonight against the Carolina Hurricanes. How much pressure is on the other two goaltenders while they're on the mend, and one is just sitting on the bench with the beautiful pads, admiring the young guys play?
Well, when it comes to Jack Campbell, I mean, you can't really put pressure on a guy who's healing himself after a rib injury, so him we'll put on the side for a little bit. But no, for Peter Mrazek, all the pressure's on him right now because as of this second, Källgren has won the net until Peter Mrazek steals it back. And I know it's based on only 2 games, and the thing that jumps out at you is, oh, this guy got a shutout in his first ever game. But it's more than just that. It's an overall style of play that Källgren plays, where he's calm, cool, collected, and makes saves. That Peter Mrazek just hasn't shown us at all this year, and a lot of opportunities in the start of the net. Peter Mrazek is a guy that we've now associated with him where he does not know how to stay in his own net. He half the time looks like he doesn't know where his posts are, and it's a massive problem. And until he steps up and steals the net back, and it's not like there's a lot of time left in the year, it's already March and we're already about the trade deadline. Until he finds a way to get back into the net, Källgren is our starting goalie. And I know it's only 2 games, but he's, first of all, the shutout again, the thing that jumps out at you, but he's played well. He's played really well, and has actually given the Leafs a fighting chance. Whereas Peter Mrazek, even in his quote-unquote good games, is still allowing 4 or 5 goals into the back of our net, and that just cannot happen with your starting goalie. So Källgren is our starting goalie right now, and Peter Mrazek has all the pressure on him. Absolutely, he does.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, you look at the coach's decision, Sheldon Keefe, and I'm sure Kyle Dubas played a large part in it as well, giving tonight's start to Källgren, the rookie goaltender that was, he played a phenomenal in his first ever NHL start. You look at Peter Mrazek, that is a real kick in the morale, considering it was always a tandem thing. He was always getting either second halves of the back-to-back games or the back and forth games. He was always getting that second game. You turn to this guy for 2 straight. That is something that I think has to and must set a fire under Peter Mrazek. And we'll have to see down the stretch once he's starting to play his games. And if he starts to play a game in regards to the end of this week, if we can get any dominant play from him, because this is the message that has to be sent. And I'm glad they chose to do it now because time is running slow. Time is running slim. And time is now for this Leafs trade deadline talk. We're going to open it right here. And now we were talking about goalies pretty much for the most of the part of the show. Evan, I'm going to ask you, is goaltending still the main issue with the Toronto Maple Leafs? Is it something that they should go out and add? Are you unconvinced with the play of Källgren that they still have to make that move because of the 2 other guys and the liabilities between the pipes in Jack Campbell and Peter Mrazek over this last couple of months? Or is it now Källgren? He's given a new face, a new identity to this team, and goalie's not really the big problem.
I don't know. The Leafs are in a tough spot. Like, the last thing I want them to do is trade a first-round pick for a goalie that's only going to be there for the 25% of the season left, because I just don't see the value in that. I think you can explore that first-round pick value elsewhere. But the Leafs are in a really confusing spot because you have Källgren, who's really shown sparks as of late, but the Leafs still got to think, like, are we really going to try? Is this going to be like how Adamo was saying, a Jordan Binnington type situation here, where Binnington comes in and all of a sudden has like a 1.9 goals against average heading into the playoffs and then wins a Stanley Cup? I don't know. Like, it's just such a weird situation going on. I haven't seen something like this since Jordan Binnington, where that third stringer that you've never heard of just all of a sudden comes in and they start clicking again. But it's weird. And I also just don't think the market's really that great for goaltenders. I mean, obviously Marc-Andre Fleury's a huge name, but will he really waive his no move to go to Toronto, given the fact that he kind of just wants to settle? He's 37 years old. He's not really at that age where he wants to, like, quote unquote, start a new life in Toronto. Like, I know he's Canadian and all that, but And, will Ottawa trade Anton Forsberg? I don't know. Like they always say the rebuild's starting, but that hasn't started yet. And Anton Forsberg's young, and he could definitely be a key piece there, just given Matt Murray's lack of consistency. I don't know. It's a really weird situation. If I'm the Leafs, I kind of just have to stick with it because, and even if Shalgren wasn't playing like he is now, I just never really saw a market that made sense. And I don't really want the Leafs to just look at their first round pick as not really a necessity. Like you kind of need that in order to make some of these deals. And like them to just throw another one away, I wouldn't really be a fan of. So I don't know. It's a really weird situation. Mrazek needs to wake the fuck up because if it continues like this the rest of the season, the Leafs are most likely going to trade him. They're going to have to find something for him because it's not looking great right now. Like the fact that this goalie's stepping in and playing how we thought Mrazek would play, it's just unacceptable.
Absolutely. And I mean, you look at what Shalgren has also brought to this team in regards to trade situations where I personally believe he bought this team a little bit of time in regards to what they have to look at. You're not looking at Peter Mrazek giving up all these goals. You got a guy in net and you're now analyzing what Peter Mrazek has done to this point and saying and addressing the needs that you have to get done. But again, goaltending shouldn't really be the biggest cause for concern for the Toronto Maple Leafs because a lot of the goals that have been giving up they have been giving up, including tonight, which I saw a couple of them there, just the lack of defense in front of the net. And defense is probably the big thing circled that all these fans calendar, all these fans wants is that it's a big issue with this team. It has been a big issue with this team historically. If you want to look over the last 5 to 10 years, drafting defensemen hasn't really been the strong suit for this Toronto Maple Leafs team. If you want to look even further, I think 3 or 4 of them play on this team, and there's 2 of them that have their foot out the door in regards to trade talks coming out of Toronto. But Jared, I'll ask you this question. Who do you think the Leafs should target? And not just putting a name to a face, but what sort of position are you going to stick on? This is going to be the be-all, end-all, mind you, and heading into Monday, which is very rapidly approaching. What should be Kyle Dubas's approach, and how should he address the needs for the Toronto Maple Leafs?
Well, I think there's 2 different ways you could take it. What I want to happen and what I think will happen. I think right now, the last few, not even few games, the last few weeks, I think goaltending has been the number 1 issue on the Toronto Maple Leafs. But going into the trade deadline, I think you have to target what, I don't want to say what the easiest fix is, but what the market has people there for. I mean, the defense is a lot more, there's a lot more defensemen on the market right now than goaltenders. And for that reason, I think you have to target a defenseman at the trade deadline, even though I think goaltending has been more of an issue. I don't like the bite your lip and sit there and pray, but unfortunately, I think you kind of have to do that just based on, as Evan said, what the market is leaving available to us. There isn't a lot of pieces there that I could right away think you could pick up a goaltender and send him into our lineup and all of a sudden we'll be perfectly fine. Goaltending's weird like that, and unfortunately, our only option is sit there and hope one of our goaltenders steps it up. Otherwise, we're sitting there on the golf course again. Like, I don't like that option. I wish there was a goalie available that right away, oh, we'll get that guy, we're good, and we're going to go on a far run. I don't see anyone on the market right now that convinces me 100% if we give up a lot to get that goalie, we'll be fine. And for that reason, we have 2 goalies there. I mean, Campbell and Mrazek, or Shalgren's a new guy. We don't know how he's going to do, but I mean, in general, we have our 2 goalies. You kind of have to bite the bullet with them a little bit, hope they turn it around, or otherwise we're sitting there on the golf course again. And for that reason, defense is 100% where I'm targeting because there's a ton of different defensemen on the market. So that's where I'm choosing to target, absolutely.
And I mean, we're going to talk about it a little bit later in the show, but a couple of them have made their way to their new destinations. We'll be getting our thoughts on that. But in regards to the Toronto Maple Leafs and their acquisitions, I'm going to turn over to Adam Ramoli in respect to one thing you said a couple weeks ago was that you don't care if Kyle Dubas goes out there and makes a big statement at the deadline, spends whatever he has to spend, give away whatever he has to give away, and get the biggest fish off the deadline. And that biggest fish, which we've been talking about numerously, is either Jacob Chikrin, who I know is still hurt and is going to affect his value going to another team, but also Claude Giroux is up there as well. Do you see them going forward because this second line that they have is something that's been sort of give or take in the last couple of months. They haven't been producing, haven't been firing on all cylinders by any means. Or do you gonna agree with Jared there, go with the defense, much like a lot of Leaf fans have been preaching, have been wanting this trade deadline season? So which tail are we going to see from Kyle Dubas? Is he going to go for the big splash, which he has done in years past? The one that comes to mind is a Nick Foligno deal that he broke his bank for. But is there going to be a big fish, or is he going to continue to bring that small ball magic that he got with Kasha, Bunting, and Kampf? I know they're signings, but they're small stuff that did it a long way and have gone a long way for this Maple Leafs team.
Do you want to know what I think they're going to do or what I would do? What I think
you can maybe sprinkle in a bit of both, but what's the plan?
Okay.
Do you want a forward, a defense, or a goaltender? And is there even a direct player that might influence this team and turn the waters in Toronto?
Okay, well, I think Travis Dermott's played his last game as a Leaf. I could say that with some confidence. I know they're interested in a couple bottom six guys, which whatever, lateral movements, probably depth for the playoffs. So I'm not too sure. I like my strategy of fucking double down, get like 130 goal scorers, because why not? Like if our issue last year's playoffs was or like 100 goal score and his sidekick didn't show up, we got 4 more, who knows? But I have a funny feeling, and I have no knowledge on this, I'll say that. I think Mark Giordano is going to become a Leaf by Monday at 5 or 3, whatever the fuck it is. And I think he fits what we need. I don't mind a rental. I know everyone's like, oh, fuck the rentals. Rentals are fine when you do them properly.
Yes.
Plekanec for a second was not proper. Foligno for a first was not proper. Like Taylor Hall, that in theory was a rental. He just happened to resign there because they did well. That was a rental. So rentals can work, and I have a feeling Giordano probably would resign in Toronto. Like he's from here. He's 38. I don't care about his age. If he's still a good hockey player, he's a good hockey player. You can't just say, I don't want him. He's 38. Fuck off. No, he's a good player. Okay. And I think that's probably the route I think they go. Probably not the route I would go. I would go for San Jose's goalie. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, James Reimer. Even though I wasn't a Reimer guy. I don't know about you guys. I was a Bernier guy.
No, not a Reimer guy.
I was a Bernier guy too.
I was a Reimer guy.
Yeah, I was a big Reimer. I was a big Bernier guy. But I think hindsight, Reimer was fun. He was a good guy, and he's actually been one of the best goalies of the season this year.
Underrated, yes.
Yeah, as I was also scrolling through Twitter looking at like Leaf stuff as you guys were talking. I'd like to give just completely off topic. I'd like to give a congratulations to Alexis Laferniere on his first power play point of his career.
Didn't Sirkin have more?
In his 115th NHL game, the first overall pick as a power play point. But nevertheless, I would probably go. I think they go goaltending, man. Eric Källgren isn't. He's not the answer. And before I get like shat on, I don't know who's watching this. I didn't call Källgren Binnington. Okay, he's not. I was just. You said. Oh yeah, I was fucking around.
Oh,
I'm not being.
I
serious.
thought you meant like.
No, he's not actually Binnington 2.0 after like an overtime win or whatever. But it could happen. Why not? Toronto's due.
I mean, it looks like it right now.
Toronto's due for a miracle. Mind you, they've been due for the last like half century, but
we're overdue.
Well overdue, yeah. So, yeah, I'd go goaltending.
Goaltending. Interesting take. We got a wide bag of big diversity on the show, but I want to ask you this question, Dom, to follow up.
Yeah.
No, I'll let you go, but I want to ask this question to Mr. Ramoli. So rentals, obviously, we've seen it historically in this league work. A lot of big names that have done a great job of producing in the playoffs, because you're usually going for a rental when you're in playoff contention, when you got some aspirations to go far, much like this Maple Leaf team does. It fits the model, and so does Mark Giordano. What do you have to give up? And Kyle Dubas has learned a lot about what he has to give up and what he doesn't have to give up in regards to achieving a rental. What's the right way to do it? Because there's always so many wrong ways to do it. Kyle Dubas has really followed that path over the last couple of seasons. But what's the right way? And I wouldn't say finesse the system or finesse the Kraken, but make sure that this rental, if it doesn't work out, and if it does, you're getting good value regardless.
I think it's exactly that. You get good value. What they haven't done is they look at, oh, we need Nick Foligno because we need a Toronto guy to come kill penalties when we can get Taylor Hall for like less. And I think they just need to go for the best player possible. And you're looking on defense in terms of rentals. Chikrin's an odd option. I would touch Klingberg with like a 100-meter pull. I think Giordano's the next best guy. I don't mind giving up a first. I don't get it. I don't know why we're so scared to trade our first round pick when we've done it wrong in the past. If the Leafs win that round against Montreal, which they didn't, and Nick Foligno's back holds up or whatever he injured, maybe his knee. I think he had 2 different injuries. If it holds up, then we're not looking at it as a bad trade. Like they didn't get a good player. Or they also got unlucky that he was injured. If Giordano stays healthy, I don't mind a first round pick. It's going to be like the 32nd overall pick anyways. It's like an early second. I don't care about it.
Well, you hope it's that. Or it could very well be the 21st.
Yeah. Even if it's the 21st, I don't care.
Okay.
I like we're in win now mode. We're in win now mode. We're not in win in the future mode.
Yeah, true.
I'm still open to trading like a prospect, like a good prospect. I'm good to trade Nick Robertson. I don't think he's a spot in this team, guys.
Not this year, no.
When is he gonna have a spot?
No, I'm with you. Like, I agree. I don't want him playing in the playoffs this year. So if the right trade's available, 100%, you have to start trading your picks and your prospects because we're in a situation where we only have such a small window to win. And if a big trade like that helps us win a Stanley Cup, then fine.
Or win the first round.
Well, the first round is number
Agreed.
one.
Let's start off slow, but
Let's
put the training wheels on. But I did want to say one thing though, and I think the worst thing the Leafs could do is trade for a goaltender. And I think the reason also that being is that there's way too much pressure if they traded for a guy like James Reimer, especially being his second stint in Toronto. And it's just like, I have to say, the Leafs media is brutal. Like if something goes south here with a guy like Anton Forsberg, with a guy like Fleury, I don't think Fleury will go south because he's I mean, that guy ages like fine wine. He just wants to call it quits. But I just think if something goes wrong here, it's not going to be good for that goalie. And if that goalie is a pending UFA, then there's zero chance he's going to re-sign either. I think a goalie would be the worst thing media-wise to bring in because it could just go so wrong so fast.
Right. And I mean, go on, Jake.
But I was just going to say, I definitely agree with that point because even Fleury, there's no guarantee that 100% you get a guy like Marc-Andre Fleury. And completely, I mean, of course he's gone to 3 Stanley Cup finals and whatever, but there's no absolute 100% guarantee with any goalie on the goalie market right now that they come in and fix our goalie issues. And for that reason, that isn't where you should be targeting your fix.
For sure.
I think a defense is a lot more of a secondary piece that, we added a defenseman to help out our decor. A goaltender is you're getting a single guy and you're relying on them to be the person that takes the Leafs on a run. And I don't think there's anyone on the market right now that 100% guarantees you that. And for that reason, you have to bet on what you have. And as much as I'm not confident in that, that's the way this team's set up. And you have to hope that one of Campbell or Mrazek will pick it up. I don't think you make a trade for a goaltender. It sucks, but that's the reality of the situation we're in.
And I'm going to tie this one before we move on to some other notable candidates that have been making their way to other places before the trade deadline has officially, I guess the trade frenzy has officially began, but I'm going to tie it into March Madness. A lot of people who have now lost their brackets have bet on certainty. The best thing that the Maple Leafs have to do is the exact same thing. And I don't think they're going to lose this bet if they do bet on those certain things. Goaltending is not really the biggest certainty just because you don't know what to expect. I think the defense in Adamo, I think you brought it up perfectly. Mark Giordano, I think he's the main piece that's going to head their way to Toronto. If that does come to fruition, I would absolutely love the deal. You're getting a physical guy, a large body, and an absolute leader in the locker room. I don't think there's a lot of guys that speak leadership or tell leadership just by the way of their looks than Mark Giordano does. He walks in a room, you know what's up. You know you got to listen to this guy. And I think all the youngsters on the Leafs and the guys who are in that mid-age range are going to comply exactly with that. Another thing about Giordano, I don't really care about the age because this guy, plays his heart out, and he just plays. He has, I believe, he got his 1,000th game, if I'm not mistaken, earlier this week, something like that. So he has the pedigree. He has the I wouldn't say the Iron Man streak, but the something very close to that. Very few players have gotten that close to that marker, and he's one of them. And he would be a terrific fit in the Toronto Maple Leafs organization. And I just can't wait to see what this team does. And one more thing about them in the playoffs. They've been having a rough history of either getting goalied, something you could do to address that, getting a forward. Defense has not always been there. They've given up so many goals against and has not helped their goaltender whatsoever. You can go out and get a defenseman. And one more thing, goaltending. If you want to go that route, I know how much uncertainty is surrounding it, but if you want to go that route, just know that you're looking for a guy who can make those big saves in those big moments, something that the Maple Leafs have not had in their recent playoff years. But let's move over to some guys who might be aspiring their teams to some grand playoff runs. And we're going to start with Ben Sharat. He was a highly touted defenseman that almost all the contending teams were looking to go after, but the Panthers are the team that brings him aboard. He's a big piece that's going to accompany Aaron Ekblad on that already talented blue line for the Cats. They acquire Ben Sharat from the Montreal Canadiens in exchange for Tyler Smilanic, a 2023 first round pick, a 2022 fourth round pick, and in the same year. So, it's you're getting a decent haul if you're the Montreal Canadiens. You've got that first round pick that scared a lot of buyers from putting it all their chips in the middle of the table for Ben Sharat. But you get the first round pick. That's what you wanted, and you have it. And the Florida Panthers now have a qualified defenseman, a big body defenseman who can really shut down another top team's pairings, another top team's lineup. We saw it last year at the forefront with the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Montreal Canadiens series. But I want to ask you guys this question. The first round pick, that aspect, what the Montreal Canadiens are getting. Yeah. You look at the teams that fell out of the race. I know the Toronto Maple Leafs were a team that were in it to the very end. I don't know how they pulled out. I don't know why they pulled out of the race, but I know that might have had to do with the first round pick selection. Is that sort of foreshadow that they're not looking to give up something of that high for a defenseman, or is there no correlation? I'm just picking at straws here.
I don't think it's that. I just think it's like the value of where they could exhort that first round pick. I definitely think if they want to go a defenseman, I don't think Mark Giordano would fit a first round pick. I think definitely the highest I would go is a second. But if there is somehow a way that the Toronto Maple Leafs can pull away with a JT Miller type of deal, or even something like that, I think that's where the first round pick should be. And I think Kyle Dubas is kind of like taking a breather and understanding the fact that these first round picks do hold value, and just throwing it away isn't the ideal situation. I think he kind of learned that with last year's deal with Nick Foligno. So I just think it was the fact that he wanted to see what he could do still. It's only this deal happened yesterday. Happened Wednesday. So, there's still a lot of time left to explore the market. I think the Florida Panthers just wanted that certainty that they could get a guy, and now they don't have a first round pick this year or next year. So they're kind of they're going all in too.
And rightfully so. And I want to ask you guys this question as well that ties into that all-in sort of atmosphere. Not that it's a make-or-break season for the Florida Panthers. They have a lot of guys on term. They have a lot of guys that are going to be returning next season that are still on this roster. So they're going to be perfectly fine for a little while. They're going to be running this division and being just in that same situation for the years to come. But is this Florida Panthers team, we've been discussing it in regards to the playoffs with this squad, their run and gun style, all that kind of stuff. They bring in a big body defenseman. Big body defensemen are, as you can see with the return that the Montreal Canadiens have gotten, are extremely valued in this market. Is this team ready to be a lock for serious Stanley Cup contention? Are these guys one of your picks? I know we had this discussion last week, who our picks were, and some of it is not aging like some fine wine, but is this team a lock to go far? Are they not going to be a first round exit? Are they going to break that curse that have been for, I think, longer than a Maple Leafs curse for the first round? It's been quite some time since this team has found some longevity in the playoffs, but you bring a guy like this in, is there anything that's going to change? And does your parameters in regards to the playoffs change any whatsoever? Adam, I'll go to you. Are you hard set on this team going to a Stanley Cup final or anything around there, or new player, same result for the Florida Panthers?
No, they got worse. I think they worsened their team. This was the stupidest move I've ever seen. He sucks. He's just big.
He's just big.
He's just big. You might as well have just went for Tyler Myers, because dead last in penalty differential, dead last in WAR, doesn't fucking do anything. He just happens to have a shot that goes in sometimes. He's getting super lucky. It's a defenseman. Why did you give a first round pick for and a second? There's a first, second, fourth, and a fucking this was probably one of the dumbest deals I've ever seen. And Kent Hughes, take a bow. Take a bow. You probably got market value, which is incredible that was market value. But maybe it's an unpopular opinion, but I think statistically, the Florida Panthers got worse by addition. There's my take.
No, and I mean, it is a fair one. And Jared, I'll turn it over to you in just a second. And I mean, I'm writing this outline this afternoon, late evening, and I'm looking at, do I have to ask this question of who won the trade? Usually in regards to when you're trading picks for a player, you're usually going to say the player that's going to help you win. I'm not going to say that's going to make you win now, but is in the sort of parameters of letting you win now, is going to help you towards that end goal. You know who the winner of that trade is as of right now. And I guess this is the oddball, the weird trade that sort of sees the GM that is getting the picks and all that stuff that is kicked down the road for the future, taking an absolute win. And I mean, Jared, do you still strike a chord with Adamo's take here? Is it a pretty big loss for the Florida Panthers, considering they could have, and I absolutely agree, could have got a bunch of big body defensemen, because that is really the only element to Ben Sherratt's game. He is huge. He's going to beat you in corners, and I'm not going to say I'm sure, but there's probably some statistics that can back up his defensive game on the physical side, but nothing on the offensive, defensively, he's all right, but he's going to go out and attack you. You could have gotten a cheaper option for sure, but the Florida Panthers decided to go out for the big fish, and they gave up the big price to pay. So what did you make of the deal? Are you going to go with Adamo and say that this was an absolute win for the Montreal Canadiens, as much as Leafs fans you would hate to say that, but what do you make of the deal?
Absolutely, the Montreal Canadiens won this deal. There's no question about it. I don't necessarily agree with the point that Florida got worse, because I think Florida knew exactly the player they were getting. Bill Zito knew what he wanted. He knew he wanted his team to be tougher to play. And for that reason, he went out and got a piece of shit player that's going to make your night miserable. But the fact that he got rid of a prospect, a first-round pick that's unprotected, by the way, and not that there's a high chance of this, but anything could happen in the NHL. What if Florida falls off next year, and then all of a sudden this pick's very high?
Picks for this, picks next.
No, it's in 2023, and it has no protection. So they gave up a lot for this player, and as much as sure it helps them with their mission to be tougher to play in the playoffs, they gave up a boatload for this, and it could go south very quickly if the Panthers somehow fall off next year. They gave up way too much for this player, and I don't think it made them worse, because it was exactly what they wanted to do. And Bill Zito knew what he wanted going into this deadline, is someone that makes the Florida Panthers a piece of shit team to play. And he's probably going to do that. I mean, Ben Sherratt's a player that, regardless of what the numbers say, he does provide a role on the ice, because he makes your team miserable to play. And we saw that in the playoff series last year. So I get what their mindset was here. And I'm not going to say this is a guy that instantly makes them worse, because it makes them harder to play. But holy shit, they gave up a ton.
No. I think it does. And first of all, they're not going to fall off. That pick's still going to be in the top.
They're still going to be a good team.
And
they didn't make them that.
They're a good team. It's not going to be, that first round pick is not going to be lower than 15, or I'm sorry, it's not going to be lower than 18 or whatever.
It's probably not going to be lower than 28.
Yeah, whatever. With Jared, no, stop. It's the Florida. If the Florida Panthers are not falling off with that roster, and there's no chance, unless every fucking player on that team gets hurt at the same time.
It could happen, is the point.
And I'm not saying it's
by prediction. I'm not saying it's by prediction, but you didn't predict Vegas to be all injured this year. I mean, no one predicted Winnipeg to not make the playoffs this year. The fact that they didn't protect a first-round pick, I don't think was the right move whatsoever.
Okay, well then Bill Zito's just confident enough in his team and in his guys that pick is most likely going to be in the 20s. And look, I will say last year, Ben Sherratt was definitely much more defensive because he had Shea Weber by his side. So I'm curious to see. I think if you paired Ben Sherratt with a guy like Mackenzie Weegar, he could definitely kind of implement. I mean, Mackenzie Weegar isn't Shea Weber, but he could definitely implement that role. And you give up a lot because, who knows? They could also be very confident in the fact that they can re-sign him to, maybe a 3-year deal with a low AAV, maybe a 3x3 type of situation, or 3x9 type of situation. So look, I trust what Bill Zito's doing. He's done fairly well on his trades before, getting Sam Reinhart from Buffalo, gave up a first round pick for that as well, and a prospect for that as well. He gave up a first and a prospect for that. He got Sam Bennett from Calgary. He's done well in his trades. And I think this was, when you have Radko Gudas and now Ben Sharat, it definitely makes it harder on your team. He's not a guy that really allows you to stay in front of the net. And when you're on a team like Florida, you don't need really like exponential production. You just need to make sure that you can at least keep the game within the margins, that you're at least still winning. And look, I was a little shocked. I do think Montreal ended up winning this trade. I mean, the prospect that they sent was a second round pick from 2019. So, I mean, that's nothing to really, that's something. Like this guy played on the US U18 team. So, I mean, if they don't re-sign Ben Sharat, this is going to look like a horrible trade, even if they do well in the playoffs, because it's all about the future. But God, I mean, Ken Hughes, he did a great job, but I think it's a win-win. If Florida has success in the playoffs, it's a win-win. The fact that the pick's unprotected, he's just betting on the team being this dominant, just given the ample amount of success that they've had this year.
And I do wonder, and it's probably going to be the last thing we say about Ben Sharat and his now time with the Florida Panthers, I do wonder with the haul going towards Montreal, if that was sort of something that Bill Zito said, okay, we don't know a lot about what the other teams are offering. I'm sure the Montreal Canadiens probably kept it a little bit discreet, saying the calls that were coming their way were probably a lot of low ball answers. And they probably said that to the Florida Panthers, saying, listen, we're getting a lot of big asks and big things, big returns to come our way for this guy. Let's see what you guys can do. If you guys can come and play hardball and bring up the real stuff. And Florida, I don't know if this is true. This is all speculation, but it begs to ask the question if Florida did fall for it and gave up much more than they should have gone. And I really agree with you there, Adamo, what you said earlier about they could have gone with a lot of cheaper options. There's very numerous teams that I'm sure the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to be shopping around because I believe I think it's the Middleton guy, if I'm not mistaken, from the San Jose Sharks. He's a physical defenseman. Vince Dunn, I know he's a bit of a physical defenseman. You can go.
Matter if the team's actually like, we're just speculating that these guys are available. Like
I'm sure it wouldn't take much to go get a number 6 defenseman.
No, I totally get that, but like a team like Seattle that's struggling, like I don't think they really, like if they think Vince Dunn is it, he's a young defenseman, like they would want to keep him regardless of what the offer might be, because prospects might not pan out, but what you get with NHL ready guys. Like we're just speculating that some of these guys are available. This is like hypothetically speaking. Maybe they weren't. Like as bad as Seattle is, they still don't want to just throw the team.
That's probably why the market was so high for Ben Sharat.
Yeah, exactly.
I know hockey men love big men. Is he ready? I think he's a ready too. I hope he's a ready. So that'll be really embarrassing if he's not.
Yeah.
Like I was really thinking, what would I give to the Leafs? What would I give to the Habs for Ben Sharat? And if they called me and said 1-for-1 Justin Hall, I'd put the phone down. I would put the phone down. I'd laugh first and then I'd put the phone down. I don't care he hits.
Too critical.
No, I don't care that he hits.
He's on a really bad team though. That's he's on a really.
Even last year
they're like the best AHL team in the NHL.
Like I get he's playing way too high in the lineup in Montreal.
Yeah,
I can admit to that.
This high in Florida. He's most likely the 5th option,
which is why are you paying that much for a number 6 defenseman?
Because that you could get, that he can help you, and that if you're saying that the market isn't great, like look, if I think they absolutely screwed the market though, because now it's like, what the fuck's John Klingberg going to get if he moved? But I don't think I think Dallas said that they're not going to trade him.
Yeah, anymore. I know Klingberg's probably not going anywhere.
He's not, but like a guy like Jacob Chychrun, granted he's hurt. I mean, they're still.
Oh my God, Chychrun would fetch Jack Eichel. Well,
no, Jack Eichel, I mean, at this rate, and look, like the defensive market wasn't great, and Florida is a team that their missing piece was a defenseman. So, like if you got to overpay for him, then you got to overpay for him. Like
I don't know, man.
It sucks.
I don't know if I would have went Sharat.
They overpaid a lot.
I wouldn't say a lot. I wouldn't say a lot because I do think given
the market,
given the market, they had to do what they had to do.
Yeah.
And look, Ben Sherratt's now going to be on a very offensively gifted team, which is a far cry from where he was in Montreal. He's not going to be as criticized because he's not going to be. It's going to be Ekblad. It's going to be Uyghur. It's
all of them.
It's going to be Gudis. It's going to be all of those guys.
All of them, yeah.
Like they got a squad there, and you know what? Fuck it. If a first round pick, like they're just speculating that Ben Sherratt's the missing piece, and he could be the reason we win a Stanley Cup. And if that's the case, then we won the trade. Like it's as simple as that. And they might see something that us as fans don't see in Ben Sherratt. There's a great that Florida Panthers have a great staff that has struck gold on most of their deals as of late. I'm gonna trust them until I see firsthand that Ben Sherratt didn't work.
I mean, we're going to kind of bring a bow and bring a close to this one because we have a bunch of other guys to talk about. But the Maple Leafs are for sure going to be seeing what Ben Sherratt can do. Not only have they seen him in the playoffs, but the Leafs have a lot of matchups to play against the Florida Panthers. So we'll be seeing firsthand, of course, what Ben Sherratt is doing, what his role is going to be on the team. We've seen what his role is with Montreal, too high, many would argue, such as ourselves. But he's going to be in a different spot, different place. And for the Florida Panthers, you're hoping he's going to be the exact same player and then some come playoff time. And a team that is going to be looking to make headway come playoff time and maybe push their parameters in the postseason come playoff time is none other than the Calgary Flames. They make the next biggest move that we've seen over this last week in the news of hockey. They bring in Calle Jarnkrok. The Flames' dominant season doesn't look like it's going to be slowing down both on the ice and now off the ice. They add a physical defender to an already sandpaper lineup. Maple Leaf fans, we have seen this firsthand in that visiting game against the Calgary Flames. We got steamrolled and a team that really looked like a group that you don't want to go against. And Calle Jarnkrok just adds to it. What they gave up, however, well, they gave up a bunch of picks, a trio of picks to be exact, over the next 3 seasons. There's one in 2022, so this season, 2023, and 2024. So you're giving them a bit of the future. And to think that this team was flirting with a rebuild last year after that treacherous year that they had in the condensed season. COVID played a big part in that. COVID's played a big part in this season as well for them. Mind you, they were the team that went under that first widespread of COVID in the NHL that led to the COVID shutdown in the league. And they have bounced back better than any other team has. They have been terrific. I believe they're first in the Pacific, if I'm not mistaken. They are around there. They're flirting with greatness in that division. Yeah, so they're a set, and they just bring in another piece here. I want to ask this question though before I get to your thoughts on the trade, because it's a clear-cut win for the. I would say it's a clear-cut win for the Calgary Flames, just because they add a big piece and they address the need that wasn't really a need. They more get a want now, but they've been addressing needs all season long. They struggle with depth on the forward group. They bring in Tyler Toffoli, and he's been a wonderful surprise from Montreal. He's been doing wonders for this team's depth, and they've been winning games from it. But the big question lies, this team, we knew they were going to go to the playoffs over the second half of the season when they came out guns a-blazing, acquired Toffoli, and the rest is history. But how far does this team push the postseason parameters for this Flames group? I mean, the team that just continuously addresses need after need, want after want. I remember us saying early in the season, and even our preseason prediction, I don't even know if we had the Flames in a playoff spot. Personally, I did not. I didn't either. I had the Winnipeg Jets, and so did Adamo Ramoli.
Neither did Adamo. I'm going to say, you did not have the Flames.
No,
I don't
remember.
No, you didn't.
Yeah,
I do remember in November. What did I say about the Flames?
You did.
Don't matter.
Thank you.
And we won't bring up the ones you said in September and very early October with the Winnipeg Jets. That did not happen. That is
didn't happen.
News. But exactly, forget about it. But let's look for the new stuff now. This postseason is looking to be a special one, and a remarkable one for the Calgary Flames. How remarkable do you guys see it being? We expect them to maybe be a first-round team that could maybe run and gun it with some other opponents, maybe give a bit of a run for a Colorado Avalanche team they were expected to face in a low playoff spot. But now how the tables have turned. They are looking to make a run. Do you see them making a run? I'm going to ask you, Adamo Romola, yourself, because you have some high aspirations. I'm going to credit you with the success of this Flames group, because ever since you said it, this team has, no pun intended, been red hot. So what do you see this team doing going forward? And is this a team ready to go far in the playoffs? Something that we did not expect to see, both heading into the year and for the first half of this year as well.
Cup finals. Best team in the West. I'm here for it. I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it.
I don't want to, before you go on, I don't want to have this I don't want to have this argument after his point that they're not the best team in the West. And if you're going to say Colorado, please, we've done this before. We went on rants about this before.
It is a hot take for a reason. It's a flaming hot take, if you will.
Oh, for fuck's sakes, your hot takes. Fuck your flames.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
Flaming Flames. I don't know. I couldn't tell if Evan got it, but no, I've been saying the same thing all year. They have an elite goalie. They have defenders who can defend, unlike Florida. They have the deepest, probably one of the deepest forward cores in the league now. Like their fourth line has like second line caliber players. You have, God, do I need to name them? Mangiapane, Goudreau, Tkachuk, Lindholm. You have the best line in the league, by the way. That's the best line in the league. Yeah, then you have Toffoli. Now you have Yarncroke. And you forgot about 70-point Sean Monahan. And fuck it, Milan Lucic is back. Whatever. He's still good. He's mid.
Yeah.
I don't have the lineup in front of me, but like that was 8 players on a team that I only watch in like the late games when I'm bored.
Mm-hmm.
God, I feel like I'm repeating myself, and I've said this like 3 separate times, but I'm just that high on the Flames, man.
All right, well.
Jared, I'll ask you this one.
Fuck Jared.
I do want to ask Jared. Jared, I love your opinion. I want to ask you this question. Does the addition of this team, of Calle Jarnkrok to this team, sort of change your thinking about how far this team can go? Or is it just a matter of he's on the team, he's going to get stuff done, and whatever the rest of the team does, that's where he goes, and he follows that way as well? So does this move change anything whatsoever in regards to their postseason picture, or are they going to just keep running on the train that they're expected to go on?
I don't think it changes much, because already I was fairly high on them. I think it just adds to their chances. I mean, it's another kind of gritty forward that they added for not a crazy high cap hit. And I think it was a good trade for them. And I think it just adds to exactly the type of player that they were looking for. This is a Daryl Sutter type player. He's a gritty guy. And it's going to make the Calgary Flames just again. I mean, it's going to make them a tough team to play in the playoffs. I don't think they're the best team in the West, but they'll probably make the conference finals. And once you get there, it's going to be a battle. I mean, they're a team that is probably ending up in the second or third round. And that's a win considering how high people were on them going into the season, which wasn't very high at all. And yeah, if they could end this season as a conference final team, I think the organization would call it a win. And honestly, they could give the Colorado Avalanche, the way they're playing right now, not saying they win that series, but they could give them a run for their money. I mean, I can tell you who the more aggressive team is out of the two. And once you're in a playoff series, that's kind of what matters. And I think the Flames are really a team to look out for, because all the moves that they're making are just adding to their identity, which is grit, and more grit. And they're a team 100% to keep an eye on at this playoffs, because I like this addition of Calle Jarnkrok, and with him, but even before him, I think this is a team that could do some damage in the postseason.
And the one thing about them, the Calgary Flames, not just as a team, but as an organization, everyone's on the exact same page. The players have the exact same mindset as the general management, and vice versa. Management sees this team's doing well, this team's ready to take the next step forward. They're going to go out and acquire the guys that they need, the guys that they want, and the guys that the players want to play with, and bolster not just their own statistics and all that kind of stuff, but bolster their chances of hoisting a Stanley Cup. This team, and I'm going to agree with you, Adamo, and a little bit of you, Jared, this team is legit. They have a chance to go far. They're more than capable of doing it with this addition of Calle Jarnkrok, who just bolsters that already menacing blue line. Evan, do you have anything else to add to this team in regards? And don't bring up Colorado versus Calgary. We've had this discussion already.
My time.
Make a comment about Young.
My time, not your time. My time.
Talk about the Flames.
No. Well, I do think the Flames would give Colorado a run for their money. I would see that series going 7, and I wouldn't be shocked if it did. I wouldn't be shocked if it ended in overtime in Game 7. Like, it's definitely going to come down to the wire. But the acquisition that we're not talking about here is Josh Manson, who just was traded from Anaheim to Colorado. And that's another depth piece that you can have at defense. And he's a hard-hitting defenseman who can provide offensive upside at some points, but you're mainly getting him for defense and penalty kill. And he had 10 hits in his Colorado debut against the Kings, and the plays that he made allowed for Colorado to keep that shutout and not really force a lot of shots onto Darcy Kemper here. I think, once you add Sam Girard back, once you have Gabriel Landeskog back, they even acquired Nico Sturm for Tyson Yost, who I thought that was kind of a counterpunch to the Flames system here. Nico Sturm isn't as great as Tyson Yost is. I don't think there's any debate there, but Nico Sturm is a lot bigger than Tyson Yost. And I think that was kind of, we need to build in that reputation as well of getting a big body forward, which they did do. But no, I mean, Calle Yarncroc, he has playoff experience. He with Nashville, especially in the Stanley Cup final, he was definitely kind of like a Blake Coleman Tampa Bay situation, kind of like that with the Predators. I'll give him high praise on that. He definitely contributed to giving Pittsburgh a run for their money in the Cup. But I think they would go to the Western Conference final, but I just have to go with I mean, they do have the best first line in hockey right now. I mean, there's no debate there, and they're adding depth pieces. I still think Colorado is better, but I think the margin right now is just very, very slim. But I hope those two teams are battling it out for a berth to the Cup final, because I think that would be like the best. I would rather that be the Stanley Cup final than whoever the hell comes out of the East, because those are just two hard-nosed teams who have it all, and that's what I want. That's what I want to see, man.
Oh boy, do we have news?
It is not confirmed. It is not confirmed.
All right, I'm back on Florida. Fuck Carolina. We're going to the Cup final.
Adrian Dater just tweeted out, I've heard Owen Tippett, Samovic. I'm going to say that's a prospect.
Adrian Dater?
Yeah.
That makes sense because they took Owen Tippett out of the lineup tonight.
And a draft pick for Drew. Not confirmed, but I've heard it.
Wow.
So, and he's a blue check too. So
Adrian Dater's he's the insider for the Colorado Avalanche.
And do you guys want to hear Drew's quote after the game?
What?
After his 1000th game tonight? Congratulations, Drew. Did you see it?
No, I haven't seen the quote, but I know it was his 1000th game.
It was a fun night, but not really.
Well,
back to Florida.
I think there's a deal in place.
Can I go back to Florida now? Fuck Carolina. We're back.
No, it's not confirmed yet, so let's chill. But I think there's a deal in place there.
They did take Owen Tippett out of the lineup tonight.
Yeah.
In the minors.
What are you saying?
No. One thing, Jared, I don't know if you cut out or something like that, but your mic went
a while.
It did go.
Oh yeah, she's not working.
She ain't working. Thought I should let you know.
Yeah,
but,
say what you want to say now.
They don't ask for better segues than this. You guys, man, set me up perfectly for this one.
Oh, we're gonna talk about Drew.
We are gonna talk about Drew, and the first thing that I was gonna say, and I have it written down. If you don't believe me, it looks like Claude Giroux is probably the favorite to go to the Florida Panthers. They are the front runners in the race for Claude Giroux sweepstakes, and lo and behold, it's not confirmed, but man, that does lead a lot of way into what Claude Giroux is going to be doing. His quote, you bring up the quote, you bring up the tweet by a blue check, which is always
I would trust him because he's the Colorado Avalanche, like you're Sean McKenzie for the Maple Leafs. He's that for the Avalanche.
No, and I mean, I will not be surprised if by the time we get to the trivia segment or even later when we're wrapping the show up,
I think they'll let him have the night. To be honest,
maybe. I don't know. It's his 1000th game.
I'm so
loyalty
happy
goes a
for
long way.
Tippett. He needed to get out of Florida, man. He needed an opportunity somewhere else. He's so good. There's just no room.
Great golfer too.
Yeah, there's just no room in that lineup for him. I think that's a win-win. You want to talk about a win-win trade? I think I don't care what the pick is. I think Tippett is a great piece, but he's just not fitting. In Florida.
I think we can probably agree. Owen Tippett is probably going to go back. The pick, I don't
It's
know.
most likely a second because they don't have. I can't imagine them giving up another first
Yeah,
round
and
pick.
then Samov here. Let's Google this prospect. I'm gonna type in his name.
And also, given the fact that Claude Giroux's 36, I don't think it would be really like fair. I mean, they gave up a highly talented prospect, but I don't think they really need to give up a first in that deal. Makes the Ben Sharat deal look now like what the fuck if you like, depending on what the pick is. But
Well, I mean, the Florida Panthers
that's
have
a
made it
huge
known.
depth piece for
They've-
Florida.
They've made it known
huge.
that they're going out fishing this trade deadline, and they're trying to haul in the biggest fishes as possible. And I mean,
Oh
you got any update on the guy?
no. The prospect. Okay, Dater completely spelt his name wrong. He didn't even try.
That's
Mackie
not helping.
Samoskevich. He's on the University of Michigan, and he was their
Oh.
first round pick last year.
Oh
24th
my
overall,
God.
26 points in 36 games.
Lauren Kelly gave a bit of like an overview on who the player is. Apparently, he's like kind of a handful type player, a piece of work. Like that's the
They gave
prospect
up-
that
that's-
potentially Philly would get the.
It's
other
not
player.
confirmed, but
No,
like,
That's the-
nothing's confirmed.
Dude,
yeah,
Mackey's
it's not talking
really
like it's
good.
confirmed,
I mean, that's also college hockey. Michigan's a wagon, so
huh? This
That could throw a fork in our plans a little bit on the
I
podcast.
I
That is,
all right. I'm
interesting.
back to Florida, Mario.
back
Fuck
on the Florida
Carolina.
hype.
I'm
Yeah, that-
still not, but holy, if they
This,
get
yeah, this is a
Claude
trade that'll
Giroux,
make them better.
yeah, that's a factor. I still don't like the way they play, but I mean,
Yeah, because they
Getting
beat your
Claude
Leafs.
Giroux helps.
Anyway.
No, this
That's a
definitely.
huge center. I mean, that's a power play guy. That's an everything guy right there. That's
Like, I guess we don't really have much to talk about Drew
No,
now. I think
that was I was gonna say. They threw a
I
real
think-
big wrench in my.
Well,
in
why
my-
don't we
in my
talk
show
about
here?
why don't we then talk about like what does Florida's lineup now look like
That
with
was where I
Claude
was gonna
Giroux?
go
If-
to. But
do you put Claude?
ridiculous. is
But
the
like,
answer.
here's the thing though, because Claude Giroux, like I was always talking to my dad about this. There's speculation that if he did indeed get traded, which it seems like he is,
likely, yeah.
because I know Colorado was in on Giroux. Maybe that's why Adrian Dater tweeted that.
Yeah,
Claude Giroux can also play the wing, but it's a little interesting. Like that, he's also slotted as a left winger. And if anyone's on my fantasy team, Claude Giroux is now available in trades if he is if he's going to Florida.
trade deadline fast, but yeah.
Oh, fuck. Well, we'll figure it out. I'll talk to someone. We'll get it there. But anyway, it makes them interesting. But I really like. I already liked Florida's top six, so I don't. I thought a team like Carolina would have attacked Claude Giroux because, like, I would have moved Kotkaniemi down to the third line and then put Claude Giroux as your second line center. So, it's interesting to see because I really like the way that their top six is oriented. But when you're making a trade like this, then someone's going to have to move down, and I just hope it doesn't discombobulate the lineup too much because I really like the way that they were flowing offensively, at least.
And I think with this deal, if you're the Florida Panther, you're just pouring gravy on a beautiful dish that you have offensively. I mean, it's a huge sweetener in the lineup. You're going to get a great playoff pedigree in Claude Giroux. He's done the dance. I don't think he's won a championship yet,
No.
but he's definitely on the search for doing it now.
Made the
Definitely
finals
not.
against the
Yeah. And
Blackhawks.
he's gone a long way. He knows what it takes to go and advance the round, something that a lot of the Florida Panthers have not been able to see, including the
Mhm.
organization. But I do want to ask this question, and I don't have much about Claude Giroux just because of so much controversy now that went around my point. But what was the exact, do you want, if you're a Florida Panthers fan, if you're just a hockey fan in general, do you want and do you think the Florida Panthers needed Claude Giroux, or is this a strictly thing where they're just going for the best player
so
available
it's-
and they're gonna just get whoever they can get because they can? What's the phrase that Steve Dangle always uses, Kyle Dubas? We can and we will. That is the exact metaphor that I'm looking for Bill Zito. I think that's the exact message he's trying to send. You see the Ben Sharat trade, he's going all in, we would argue, as we've seen, overpaying for that, but he's also I'm not gonna say he's overpaying for this, but he's going all in for a guy like Claude Giroux, the biggest guy who I would argue is on this market.
It's a little crazy that Ben Sharat is about to cost more than Claude Giroux.
That is crazy. It is absolutely
I'd say
ridiculous.
that this is about the same amount, given like
Regardless,
Shouldn't-
one's
it
Claude
shouldn't be
Giroux,
the
one's
same
Ben
amount.
Sharat. What the fuck?
No,
One's-
I totally get that. I mean, like you're still giving up this almost identical returns here, but no, I mean it's just I'm looking at their line combinations right now. I guess
They're stacked. They're
they have
time-scared,
Maxime Mammon playing on the right wing with Alexander Barkov. Is that where you slot in Claude Giroux? Maybe move Verhaeghe to the right, put Giroux at his left wing. spot here. Like,
Man, they have such a terrible problem. Ugh,
Yeah.
poor them.
Maxime, Mammon, Claude Giroux.
no, but like I know I
feel
sound
so
stupid.
bad.
I know I sound
Evan,
stupid.
you want to hear a comparison for you?
I know.
This is
Shut up,
hockey.
shut
This
up,
is
shut
hockey's
up,
Dodgers right here.
Yeah, shut
Is
up.
it not? Offense is absolutely stacked. You're adding a piece just to add a piece, and
No
We didn't do
defense.
that. No, we added a necessity. Okay, that's different. We added a necessity.
Yeah,
We
you
needed
needed the like NL MVP and World
Yeah,
Series
we
champion.
needed
it.
It's a need.
we needed a first baseman. This is different. All right, this is totally different. Dodgers, like, no, this is totally different. But I don't know. It's interesting. Like, you could definitely put Claude Giroux on that left wing, move Verhaeghe to the right, see what happens there. Send Maxime wherever the hell he was before. Never heard of him until today. But it's
I want to
interesting.
see that power play. That power
That
play.
power
I'm
play.
so excited for.
If they don't have 100% the rest of the season, fucking fire the coach.
What do you even do? Like put Barkov in the middle, Huberdeau on one side, Giroux on the other side, then like Ekblad
Ben
on
Sharat
the
at the top. Ben Sharat at the
like
top.
it's
Just-
Sam Bennett on the other point. Like I don't even know what you do there.
No, Reinhardt. Put Reinhardt there.
Fucking
The
Duclair.
guy that
Pinky
can score
poison.
30 goals.
Jesus, yeah,
It's interesting.
They're stacked.
But
They're gonna
this
be
is all
stacked.
hypothetical. But look, I mean, it is kind of reminding me like of, if we want to talk LA sports, the LA Rams, where Bill Zito's kind of just like, fuck them picks. Like he's kind of like, let me take proven talent over potential talent.
Is what I'm
which-
waiting for
Proven
Kyle to
talent,
do.
Ben
Come on,
Sherrod.
glasses, boy. Where's my damn glasses?
Calculator
Wait,
Cowboy.
What's up,
We're getting the
Jared?
glasses.
No, I said proven talent. Ben Sherrod is who you're fucking them picks for.
Come on, glasses, boy.
Yeah.
Get it done. Get it done, glasses.
Yeah.
boy.
I'm all for that. I'm all for the fuck them picks mentality. Maybe not when you're going for Ben Sherrod, but that's just me.
How about Claude
Look,
Giroux?
you're judging him.
That one you could.
You're judging him
Convince me.
heavily, and he hasn't even played a game in Florida yet. Like,
I mean, I watched him enough in a 7-game series. I
no,
don't
but
like
that's
him.
on a completely different like team. Like, let's at least let's give him 5 to 7 games here, and then we can evaluate the trade. Like,
Hey, that's
who's
the
to say-
Stanley Cup finalist Montreal Canadiens right there.
I mean,
That matters, by the way.
I'm kind of like on the point of like, who's to say that maybe this Claude Giroux deal isn't a bombshell? Like, it could have potential of like, I was a fan of. I never thought Florida needed to bolster offensively. I figured if you're going to spend on defense, this could ruin a little bit of chemistry here.
It's definitely something you're going to have to look out for, just because and this is with every team that goes out of their way to address a want rather than a need. The need is obviously going to help you right then and there. You're getting it because it's going to make your team 100 times better. In respect to the Ben Sharat trade, we don't really know considering the value he brought up, but you bring in a physical guy, it's going to make your team more physical. You bring in Claude Giroux, your offensive team that's one of the top 5, top 10 offenses by far in the league. It's only going to get better, and it didn't really have to get better. In the playoffs you saw last year, it wasn't the offense that was the problem for the Florida Panthers, it was the defense. They go out and acquire Ben Sharat, but if in respect to like what I'm thinking here is that maybe you go out and find another defenseman, and maybe you pay for another defenseman just because that's the need. But you have the resources at your disposal. Go out and get whatever you want, I guess. That's something that maybe another Atlantic team can take out of the book of the Florida Panthers that we've been covering for just about the entirety of this.
Who are we talking about, guys? Who?
Yeah, I got no clue.
Who?
I don't know. Who are we talking about?
The
here?
St. Pat's?
The St.
Well,
Pat's.
I
the
think
Red
Cowboys.
Cowboys.
what's his name? Kyle Dubas has done that. It just hasn't worked
He
out.
just sucks at it.
Yeah, he
I
just
shouldn't say
sucks
that.
at it. Like, or no, I mean, like, he's not like it just hasn't worked out. Like, you guys are like all upset. They haven't worked out. Like,
It's really weird, evaluating Kyle Dubas. He's
It's
so
so-
good at finding like these little, what the fuck? How did you do that, Kyle? And then he just meatball down the plate and he fucking swings and misses. Like, you look
Yeah.
at his offseason, the big signings were Mrazek and Richie, not Bunting, Kasha, Camp. And look what happened.
Look how it's turned out.
Like, the best trade we made was Labushkin. Look, I think that's a steal of the trade. I think Labushkin.
Oh yeah, I actually really like Labushkin.
he's been fantastic, man. I want to see him more with Riley, but
He actually knows how to push people.
It's
No one
crazy.
else on our team does.
crazy. Yeah.
Dude, I love Labushkin, man. Like, anytime like anyone touches a Leafs goalie, that dude's like, he's like ready to do MMA shit and like just take him down.
And that's what Ben Sharat does. But on the
Yeah.
flip side, Labushkin's actually good at defense. So
yeah, and also Labushkin didn't cost as much.
an arm and a leg, and like
Yeah, an arm.
Labushkin
Well,
literally
actually,
cost
no.
him
fucking
No.
a large
Yotes
smokes
legend,
poutine.
Yotes legend Nick Ritchie has
Richie
been
is turning it up, but I mean,
So have the
Richie was an
Coyotes.
untradeable who we ended up getting better defensively by trading. So
Leafs legend Nick Ritchie tearing it up elsewhere, man.
we'll put the jersey up someday.
Just right next
I gotta change my
to
Twitter
Tim
header.
Horton.
Yeah.
Right next to Tim Horton up on the rafters. That's where he earned his.
Yeah.
That's where he earned his spot.
Anyways, the Giroux segment was absolutely torched, but one that was never ever will be torched, including on this show.
We back, baby.
The funny thing, wait, one sec, sorry. The funny thing is my dad's at the Knights Panthers game right now in Vegas, and I just texted him like, yo, Giroux's probably heading there maybe tonight for a little
Papa Davis, you might want to get on those phones.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's texting the wrong guy right now.
Yeah, but they went to Vegas without me to go see the Knights without me.
Yeah, but you spoiled the trade for him, so it's fine.
You spoiled it. But
he goes to the Florida Panthers PR guy now.
Are we ready? Are we ready for this this beautiful segment that I have created and that you are finally participating for the first time in a lot of weeks? We have, I'm not going to give you which trivia segment it is. I don't know what number we're at, but I know it's a trivia segment on St. Patty's Day in trade deadline theme stuff. It's going to be a great show, and we're going to end it off on a beautiful way. Welcome to this trade deadline theme trivia segment of the Leafs Line podcast. I got 3 questions for you and a bonus, and let me tell you, I had to dig deep for these ones, but I am going to let you guys do the talking now, and I'll ask this question right here. Question 1, who was the last Leaf player to get traded at the trade deadline? Jared, who was the last Leafs player to get dealt?
Trevor Moore?
No. Very good guess, though. Damo, you are up. Last Leaf to get traded at the trade deadline.
What is his name? Oh my God. I think it was to Colorado. What the fuck was his name? It was a Swedish defenseman.
Oh.
No, what's his name? It's probably not. I'm going to say Andreas Borgman.
No, I credit you for the weird name, but no, that is incorrect. Evan, you got a shot at this. I can almost guarantee you might not get this right, because if these two didn't,
if they didn't get it, I'm screwed. I'm gonna go at the deadline.
That's the vital part. The last player to be traded for the Leafs at the trade deadline, not the next day, not the day before, on the trade deadline. It was the last player,
like
to
the
be
last
traded.
Day.
On the trade deadline.
Can we do one more thing?
I want to do one more because I know you guys can get this.
Okay, if it wasn't Trevor
familiar
Moore,
name,
then okay, then it had to. I'm gonna I'll throw like Andreas Janssen.
No, but another great guess as well.
Off season.
Apologies.
I think I know what deal it was, because I went to I think it was the last time we made a trade on the deadline. I went to a deadline game. Like, I went to Leafs versus Buffalo the day of the deadline. And I know that's the day we made the Jake Muzzin trade. But who did we send the other way in the Jake Muzzin?
Why?
Oh,
Jake
I know who it is.
What?
Wouldn't it be? Can I say it or no?
I'm completely blanking on what that.
I don't know.
I say at this point,
wouldn't it be
it's a wild
Sean
card.
Dursey?
No, he wasn't. That wasn't traded.
Guys, you are getting further from the bush. Do you want me to give it? Do you want to give me?
Sean Dursey was the pick that was used for.
I'll ask the question one more time. Who was the last Leaf player to get traded at the trade deadline? Yes, monkey.
Maybe. Alexander Barabanov.
Yes, that is it.
Fuck yeah.
What?
That is the correct answer. Do you want to know? Because I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was
Swomella at the last second.
Yep.
Yes, and you want to know why I remembered this and I asked this question was because Ben, I think is it Ben Hutton? Who was the defenseman that came from Anaheim to us last?
Ben Hutton.
It's Ben Hutton. Okay, yeah. He came, and right when he came back, when they made that trade, Barabanov went as well, and that was the last guy to leave the Toronto Maple Leafs on that day.
I remember that.
When you were going to Jake Muzzin, Jared, I had no clue where that one was coming out because Jake Muzzin was dealt.
Jake Muzzin wasn't a trade deadline piece either.
No, I don't think
it was.
I'm trying to think what I was thinking of, because I went to a game on trade deadline day, and I remember the person who is making their Leafs debut after the deadline, or at least the person we had traded for, I think, or was Jake Muzzin. I'm pretty sure.
Regardless,
Whatever.
Move on.
Regardless of it, we will move on to question 2, continuing the trade deadline theme. Question number 2, which of these players were traded the night before the 2021 trade deadline? Taylor Hall, Braden Coburn, Hayden Fleury, or Michael Raffle?
Wait, can you repeat the names?
I will repeat the question and I will repeat the names
Hayden
as well.
Fleury.
Which of these
Raffle.
players were traded the night before the 2021, last year's trade deadline? Was it Taylor Hall? Was it Braden Coburn? Was it Hayden Fleury? Or was it Michael Raffle?
Oh,
Evan, I got you up first on my screen.
okay. Trying to think here.
I know this one.
Taylor Hall.
That is incorrect.
Wasn't he traded at like 12 a.m.?
What?
Taylor Hall was traded at like 2 a.m. or something at the trade
Dude,
deadline.
what? I thought
At the
Taylor-
trade deadline.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? That was the day of. Good call. Good call.
Oh,
Fair play.
fuck you.
Fair play.
But hold on, go through the names one more time.
I'll go through the
Taylor
names.
Hall off the board.
Yep, I'll go through the names. Jared, you are also next on my board. Taylor Hall, Braden Coburn, Hayden Fleury, or Michael Raffle. Which one of these
Still
players
think I know
was
this.
traded the night before the 2021 trade deadline?
I believe that would be Braden Coburn.
Jared, you redeem yourself from the Jake Muzzin blunder. That is absolutely correct.
I actually
Braden
remember that.
Coburn traded to the
the
Islanders
Washington?
for a
Oh, nope.
Islanders. Nice try.
Damn it.
Islanders for a 7th round draft pick on April 11th, 2021.
Fuck you.
The trade deadline was April 12th, 2021.
That was a trick
We got
question.
one more question if you want to go away from the bonus one. And this one ties very closely into the bonus question. In 2014, Evan, lower your hand before I.
Oh,
get
sorry. I didn't realize.
angry.
Sorry.
Again,
Disqualified.
disqualified, very close. In 2014, Roberto Luongo was traded at the trade deadline to the Florida Panthers. Which marquee player went to the Canucks?
Holy shit. Marquee player went to the Canucks.
And I know marquee's not really the best word to use, but I will say this: he was
Was
the
he a
better of
schmuck?
he was the better of the two players to go, and he was actually I can't give this one away, but better of two players to go towards the Canucks. So none of you have raised your hand, so I
Yeah,
guess you guys
no,
are
we are
stewing over it.
100%
Dude.
stumped.
That trade happened so
2014?
long
Well,
ago.
we were
man.
what? We were what? 12, 11?
Yeah, I was seeing a Stanley.
It was
Cup
Leaf
win.
sad
What the
hours
fuck
at that
did
time,
change?
so
Yeah, it was King's
when was it
happy
not?
hour.
not much to look for in a trade deadline. But
I'd
he
say
was
we ju-
traded.
I say we just shout it out if anyone gets it.
All right,
It would be
Um,
Jokinen.
incorrect.
Ryan
Uh,
Kessler.
Incorrect. Evan, you got
Um,
one? I will give you a hint after because I want to see if you guys can get this. But Evan, you got one random
I
answer?
can't
to give?
think.
Weirdly remember a notable player going back.
I don't remember. I don't even know this trade. So like,
Okay.
I don't even remember this
I'll
trade.
I'll give you a little
give
bit
it-
of a hint
give
here, a
us a
little bit of
clue.
help. He was a crucial piece in the Vancouver Canucks run towards the playoffs in 2020.
Maybe.
Monkey again.
Wait. Did you say 2020?
Well, remember, I
2014.
believe 2020 was the time where
Oh,
Vancouver
when they made
Canucks
the playoffs.
Yeah,
were
second
up
round.
with the Vegas Golden Knights. So he
Yeah.
played a very crucial role in getting them to the playoffs.
Oh my
Ooh,
god.
I was gonna say Bieksa, but it's not Bieksa. That's
No,
not my
BXO was
guess.
never a Panther.
Yeah, no. The fuck? I don't know that.
That sounded a little aggressive. That's kind of aggressive.
I don't know.
My bad.
Man, this one is like, if you're thinking Canucks, this one's got to be obvious. Played a
God.
vital role in getting them to the playoffs.
Bo Horvat.
No,
No,
Evan.
Horvat was drafted by the Canucks. Get out of
I-
here. That was oh my god. A
Vital role in getting them to that playoff spot in 2020.
Like, was he the like?
Oh,
he-
oh, Jacob Markstrom.
Hey, it wasn't your guess.
You
I
know,
thought we were just shouting it out.
Oh, we
I had-
have hands up.
I had
Yeah, but we
hands
were just-
raised.
Okay.
That's a debacle. But I don't
Am
know.
I right though?
You are right. That is the answer.
I did raise my hand.
What were you gonna say, Jacob Markstrom?
That was the name because that was the key guy in the playoffs.
I'll give it to you.
Well, I didn't guess it, so I say maybe like.
I gotta cancel
Leave
this
it
one
off.
out for all of you.
I was like in the middle of the.
Well, I know
like
Jacob.
we started off like I thought we just had our hands up for the sake of it.
We gave you your time. I was in the middle of thinking.
Who did I even get? I was just shouting out names. Like I said, BX and
That's
Horvat.
great for you, but
Well,
I'm
listen.
in the.
As the host of the show and as the host of the trivia segment, I'm gonna have to cancel this one. But Evan, you get first dibs. If you know this trade and you say that you know this trade very well, I got one bonus question to redeem
Here,
all you
go
guys.
here.
I got one bonus question that if you know this trade, you do.
I was supposed to.
And I don't know if you want to answer this one first, but if you know this trade and you're certain with who was going the other way, I mentioned there was two players in this deal. One was Jacob Markstrom, but who was the other? And I will give you this absolute crucial hint for the Leaf fans in this room. One of the players, so the second player other than Jacob Markstrom, the guy we're focusing on, played for the Toronto Maple Leafs the following season. Who was that second player? And
Wait,
just
like
remember,
in 2021 he played for the Leafs?
no, in 2014 the trade was made. In 2015, the player
Zach Hyman? I don't.
He didn't.
Well, no,
play on the 2015 Leafs.
he did not play.
Dude, I didn't even know when this guy was a Leaf until 2019. All right.
No, Jared. I think I'm gonna go to a shutout basis here.
I didn't even hear the question, but I have something else.
Shall I ask the question again?
Sure.
All right. So there were two players made in that 2014 trade with Luongo. One was Jacob Markstrom, and the other is the player we're focusing on for this question. He did play for the Toronto Maple Leafs the following season in 2015. Who was that player?
I know this.
I'm
not going to say it though. It's Jared.
Jared, I'm going to give you the time here.
Okay.
Might I say he has a pretty cool name too.
Maybe I don't know this.
You might. Hey, nice names are
you won't.
This isn't that nice of a name. The guy I'm thinking of.
He wasn't that great of a player, but he did play for the Maple Leafs in that ugly season.
I'm 99% sure I know it.
Peter Holland.
You know, the Caledon boy who did play for the Caledon Hawks is not the answer you were looking for. That's incorrect.
Caledon boy.
Boy. You can say your guess. I think these guys.
Mason Raymond.
I love the guess. I love
Good
Mason
guess.
Raymond.
He played on the Nucks. And he played
did.
on the Leafs in that time.
And you know, you are so close.
Legend.
He played with Mason Raymond on his line, if I'm actually going to go that far.
Pop off. I don't remember the lines.
Do you know? Do you want to give another stab at it?
Nah, because we
Jared,
have.
you stumped?
We have like something kind of big to say.
Oh no! Well, I think I'm going to leave it to that.
But
we have a trade to announce.
Cody Franson.
Cody Franson was dealt way before that, so no, he was my boy. Probably the best defenseman in Leafs history. If we don't want to go that far,
could I shout out names?
No, you're not going to get it if you shout out names. I will give you the answer. Sean Mathias.
I was never getting that.
What? He was a Vancouver Canucks guy. He made his way to Toronto.
Leafs legend. Anyways, Claude Giroux has been traded to the Florida Panthers.
It is official, ladies and gentlemen. The time we end the show, I said it.
We do not have a return.
Panthers are going to score.
According to Anthony Sanfilippo, who is a Flyers insider with a blue check mark, white to people in light mode or dark mode. You guys are weird. Deal is not final, but Drew will not be accompanying the Flyers in Ottawa, pending a trade with the Florida Panthers.
Well, I don't know. Do we have to go into any more depth?
I don't think so, but we can pretty much say by the time we wake up tomorrow, it's happening.
This is big,
goals a game for Florida.
This part's big though, because you know how you know how Drew has a no move, like he has to waive his no move.
Yeah.
So 4 teams were in it: Florida, Colorado, Boston, and the Rangers, and he said no to New York and Boston.
That's interesting, huh?
I feel like he would have had a better opportunity to be in the tops. I mean, like he'll be in the top 6 anywhere. I think he'll be in the top 6 anywhere. It's interesting with New York because I thought if they got one more piece, they could definitely, at least offensively, a depth piece, they could definitely be a dark horse to go far in the playoffs. But Boston's probably just like, dude, like if you're Claude Giroux, even to the fan base, you can't walk into a Bruins locker room. Like it would just be so detrimental to his career to put on a Bees jersey. Florida's the one team, I guess, that he hasn't had any any run-ins with yet.
Any beef with?
Yeah, but that's interesting. New York, though, because I figure, like, just the way that they're playing, they just need depth.
Absolutely. I mean, Claude Giroux probably would be a more perfect fit in regards to some other teams, including New York. But
are we hammering team total overs every night now for the Panthers?
Oh, that
it's
team is
looking
gonna be
like
ridiculous.
that's probably one of the best offensive lines 1 through 4 that I've seen. I know that the Jesus, Jared, you might just blast it out again, but no, I've seen
sounds
like
the fart,
Tampa
like
had
the-
terrific depth, but it wasn't like their team was fully stacked 1 through 4. This team has name
What do
value
you mean,
and guys
1
to
through
back
4?
it
I'm
up.
so
Sorry,
confused.
lines 1 through 4.
Oh, lines 1 through 4.
I thought that was a little self-evident, but
I have a
knows me?
tweet to announce.
You have a tweet to announce.
Nothing. Just Florida's out here acquiring Claude Giroux. Meanwhile, the Leafs are going to trade for Jacob Middleton and Tyler Mott. Laugh my ass off. Go to hell, Kyle.
Who tweeted that?
Okay, like yeah.
Net front Nylander.
I love that guy.
I'm gonna retweet it.
Dude, no, send that to the chat. Like that's awesome.
That's a good tweet.
Like I understand like it's a joke, but like do people not understand that like not everything is as easy as the speculations?
It's
also a tweet. There's no
also
inside there.
Because there was probably definitely going to be a Jake DeBrusk moving if it was Boston, and if it was New York, it was probably going to be like Capo Caco or something like that.
But I mean, are we? Is that all the news we got?
I think
tonight?
yeah. I think we could wrap it up.
A little
I
of a
mean,
Ramon
that's
bomb.
some big news.
You know,
That
if
is
anything,
big news.
the news in the
All right,
NHL comes fast. So if anything comes
so-
within my 20, 30 second
Yeah.
spiel to close out the show, just please do not hesitate to make some monkey noises like Adama was doing.
We've
in
turned
the
into a betting
trivia.
site now. We're hammering Florida overs for the rest of the season.
And much like a lot of people will be in the hockey world. But thank you guys for tuning in to season 2, episode 21 of the Leafs Line podcast. Again, I am Mayor Russo, and joining me for this terrific St. Patrick's Day theme, St. Patrick's Day episode of the Leafs Line podcast, Evan Davis, Jared Rotenberg, and Adama Moley signing off. And we'll see you probably, I would say, very early next week. We're going to be discussing the big trades on the on trade deadline day. We're sure going to be seeing a lot of Maple Leaf stuff. I think it's a must with this organization. We've talked at length in this show about it. So, let's see what this does. Let's see how this sort of plays out. It was a quiet NHL week for trades last week and week before. It was
heat
very
up over
silent,
the
and then very quickly, over this
It'll
last
heat
couple of
up over the
days, it
weekend.
just exploded and it is not at its pinnacle yet. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate all the support on the channel. Go to Dynasty Sports Network to check out everything under our branch, including the Maple Leafs Line podcast. And yeah, that is all we got to say tonight. Thank you guys for joining us, and have a great rest of your evening, barring any crazy madness within the March Madness and of course the madness that comes with the NHL season. Take care.